The neighbors in flat 7B had grown used to Chidi's shouting, but tonight it thundered through the corridor like a storm about to swallow the whole compound. "Get out of my house!" "I said get out!" he barked, his voice cracking from rage. Inside the living room, Adeze stood near a chair, tears streaking her carefully made-up face. She clutched her handbag as if it were a lifeline. "Chidi, please, you can't just send me away like this," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "We've been together for almost 2 years." Chidi's eyes, once warm and admiring when he looked at her, now burned with disgust. He pointed at the door, veins dancing along his forearm. "I said out! Whatever rubbish we had is over." Adeze's eyes dated to the framed photo on the wall, the one they took at Takwabe Beach, both of them laughing, her head resting on his chest. How could love rot so quickly? "Chidi, what did I do that is so unforgivable? Because I said you shouldn't shout at me in front of your friends?" He scoffed. "You city girls, you don't know your place, always talking back, always questioning me. I'm tired. Pack your things." Adeze's shoulders dropped. For a moment, she looked like a child who had lost her way home. She sniffed, wiped her face, then lifted her chin. "Fine," she whispered. "God sees my heart." She put the door open. The corridor light flickered above her head as she stepped out, heels clicking on the tiles like an insult. Chidi slammed the door behind her. The photo of Takwaba Bay tilted on its nail and fell with a soft thud to the floor. He didn't bother picking it up. Instead, he sank onto the sofa, his chest still heaving, telling himself he had done the right thing. That Adeze's stubbornness, like every other city girl's, made her unworthy of his last name. But in the dark corners of his mind, something whispered, what if the problem is not them? He silenced it quickly with a bitter hiss. Long before Adeze, there was Chioma. If Adeze was fire, Chioma was soft rain. Chidi met her at a bank. He had gone to sort out a payment issue, and she was the customer service officer who took his complaints. She had a smile that made his chest tighten, a calm voice that made him feel important. They started talking, then eating lunch together. Within months, Chioma was staying over at his apartment on weekends. Everyone said they looked good together. "You both look so mature, so settled," his mother told him over the phone, and he had believed it. But underneath Chioma's gentle voice was a steel pain. Chidi didn't see coming. She had a good job, a clear career path, and big dreams. When Chidi suggested she resign and open a boutique, "So you can have time for our home, you know," she laughed at first, thinking he was joking. But Chidi wasn't joking. He wanted her at home, waiting for him, doing things his way. He didn't like her boss calling at night or her traveling for training seminars. He didn't like her ambition because it made her bold. One night, the argument exploded. Chioma stood at the foot of the bed, arms folded. "Chidi, you want a wife or a maid? Which one?" she asked, her calm voice sharper than any shout. "Respect yourself, Chioma. I am the man here," he fired back. She tilted her head, studied him like a stranger, then said, "I know, that's why I'm leaving." And she did. She left the next morning, returned the spare key, and blocked his number. He told his friends she was too proud, too modern. "All these city girls are the same," he grumbled. But deep down in the echo of her empty wardrobe, he wondered if he had pushed away someone who truly cared. Chidi had sworn off career women after Chioma. He told himself he needed someone fun, someone who would make him feel like a real man. So, when Vanessa stumbled into his life at a mutual friend's party, it felt like fate. Vanessa was everything Choma wasn't: unpredictable, loud, and wide in a way that made Chidi feel like a king among boys. She called him big man in public and clung to his arm like a trophy. She laughed at his jokes, even when they weren't funny. At first, Chidi loved it. He loved that she dressed to be noticed, until he didn't. He loved that she had friends everywhere, until she started clubbing without telling him. He tried to clip her wings gently at first. Vanessa, you're not a teenager. Stay home sometimes. But Vanessa was not the type to fold neatly into anyone's box. The night he caught her sneaking back home at 3 a.m., perfume heavy on her neck, he lost it. "Where are you coming from?" he demanded. Vanessa dropped her bag carelessly. "Out." "Out where?" She smirked, tossed her wig on the couch. "With friends." "You can't kill me, Chidi." They fought until dawn. He slapped her when she laughed in his face, and she slapped him back twice as hard. By morning, she packed her clothes, took the flat screen TV remote with her just to spite him, and left. He found out later from a friend that she had been seeing another man, a big boy, who didn't mind her nightlife. Another city girl gone. Another nail in the coffin of Chidi's belief in city love. 2 months after Adeze's exit, Chidi's mother came to Lagos to see her son, but really to find out why he still hadn't settled down. Mama Chidi was a robust woman with a booming voice and soft hands that smelled of camphor and palm oil. She cooked enough soup to feed a family of 10 and fused about the dots under his TV stand. One evening, she sat across from him, peeling roasted groundnuts while watching him with knowing eyes. "Chidi, my son, how many Lagos girls will you chase away before you realize your wife is not here?" Chidi frowned, pushing away his plate of jollof rice. "Mama, these girls here don't have respect. They argue. They think they know everything." His mother chuckled. "Ndo, sorry, my son, but you see, Lagos girls are not for people like you. If you want peace, come home and marry. Our girls are respectful. They still know tradition. They will serve your food with 2 hands and call you my lord." Chidi's chest swelled at the thought. The village girls, he hadn't really considered them before, but his mother's words sounded like salvation. "You're right, Mama. I need a proper wife, not this city pepper them girls." She nodded, pleased. "Good boy. Come home. Your uncles will help you find a good girl. A girl who knows that a man is the head." And that night, Chidi lay awake, dreaming of a shy girl in a wrapper, kneeling to serve him water after a long day. He felt powerful just imagining it. By the next week, Chidi made up his mind. He took a short leave from work, packed his clothes into a battered traveling bag, and locked up the apartment that had seen too many arguments and slammed doors. When the bus pulled out of Jibowu Park before dawn, Chidi felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope. He watched as Lagos disappeared behind him. The towers, the noise, the neon signs, advertising clubs and lounges and VIP events tonight. All of it faded into red dust roads as the bus rumbled eastward. In his head, he pictured himself returning in a few weeks, but this time with a wife draped in innocence and loyalty. A woman who would be grateful for his city money and never question where he went or who he talked to. The bus bounced over potholes, sending his head knocking lightly against the window. He smiled at the jolts. Finally, he thought, I will find my peace, a good wife, a real wife. Outside the window, the bushy landscape blurred by, oblivious of the illusions dancing in Chidi's mind. When Chidi stepped off the dusty bus at Umueze Junction, he felt lighter than he had in years. The air smelled of burning firewood, cassava, and damp red earth. Home in its rawest form. Children ran barefoot by the roadside. Women balanced basins of yams on their heads. Goats wandered without fear of honking cars. He went straight to his uncle's compound, where his mother and extended family gathered under the mango tree to welcome him. Chidi, oh boy, look how Lagos has fattened you, Uncle Ejike teased, slapping his back so hard his teeth rattled. Over plates of pounded yam and bitter leaf soup, Chidi declared his mission with the same confidence he once pitched new business deals in the city. I want a good girl, humble, quiet, respectful. Somebody who will not drag words with me or embarrass me like those city girls. His uncles nodded approvingly, slurping soup noisily. His mother beamed. His aunties exchanged knowing looks. To them, a good wife was the final badge of manhood. Don't worry, Uncle Ejike said, wiping his mouth. We know the kind of girl you need. Leave it to us. True to their word, Chidi's uncles wasted no time. By dawn the next day, he was paraded from compound to compound like a prize goat. First, they took him to see Amaka, the Katki's daughter, slender, soft-spoken with eyes that rarely lifted from the ground. But when Chidi asked if she would be willing to live in Lagos, Amaka's mother laughed nervously. My daughter cannot survive that place, so she's not used to noise and wahala. Next was Chibugo, pretty, polite and barely 18. But when her father had Chidi worked in Lagos, he asked, is it not the same Lagos where men marry and forget their families? My daughter will not go there and suffer alone. And that was the end of that. From sunrise to sunset, Chidi and his uncles trudged through compounds, greeting elders, sizing up girls fetching water, pounding fufu, splitting firewood. Each time, Chidi's heart sank a little more. Where was this perfect village wife everyone swore existed? Then, one humid afternoon, it happened. Chidi sat under an odala tree, wiping sweat from his neck, when he saw her, Ngozi. She was at the stream's edge, lifting her water pot onto her shoulder in one graceful swing. The sun caught her smooth skin. The wrapper around her chest was faded but clean. Her bare feet dusted red from the path. She glanced up and caught him staring. Their eyes locked for a breath that felt stolen from a different world. Who is that girl? Chidi asked the boy beside him. That's Ngozi, Mazokeke's last daughter. The boy replied. She's quiet, keeps to herself. Something in Chidi's chest flickered alive. Perfect! His uncle made the approach formal. They went to Mazokeke's house with bottles of palm wine, tins of milk, and polite words. Chidi spoke softly to Ngozi's parents, telling them he was ready to take care of her, that she would live in comfort and lack nothing. Ngozi, seated on a low stool, barely spoke. She kept her eyes on the knees while her mother praised her virtues. Ngozi is very humble. She listens. She has never answered me with a loud voice. Chidi's heart soared. Here she was, his dream. When they let him talk privately with her under the Odala tree, he leaned in close. I will take you to Lagos. You will wear the best clothes. I will build you a shop if you want. You won't suffer like other village girls. Ngozi only smiled shyly, nodding at intervals. She spoke so little. He convinced himself it was because she was perfectly meek. Inside, though behind that quiet smile, a storm waited, but Chidi could not see it. Within a month, everything was arranged. His mother called him Odogu, the great one. The entire village feasted on jollof rice, goat meat, and crates of soft drinks. Women elated. Children sang songs about Ngozi's good look. Chidi beamed through it all. From the church blessing to the dance in the village square, he threw naira notes in the air as drummers pounded rhythms for the new couple. His mother whispered, "Now you will know peace. This one will not raise her voice at you." Chidi, half drunk on palm wine and triumph, nodded proudly. Ngozi smiled beside him, serene as the stream where he first saw her. No one knew her thoughts. Chidi brought Ngozi to Lagos like a trophy in a second-hand Toyota he borrowed from his friend. The compound neighbors peeped through curtains, curious about the bush girl he would replace Adeze with. At first, all seemed well. Ngozi kept the house spotless. She cooked the soups just the way his mother taught her in the village. Onugbu, egusi, with no pepper too hot for Chidi's pride. She called him Nani, our father. She knelt to serve him water. He bragged to his friends, "My wife does not argue. Village girls are gold." But beneath the surface, the old city was seeping into Ngozi's skin. She watched how the other wives in the compound spoke freely, how they went to markets alone, how they corrected their husbands without fear. She saw women with painted nails and small businesses, not just pounding yam all day. And in that quiet mind of hers, something began to shift. The first crack came when Chidi told Ngozi to stop talking to the neighbor's wife, Mama Titi, who sold Ankara fabrics in front of the compound. "Ngozi, you are not like those women. You are a decent wife. Don't go sitting and gossiping." Ngozi looked him straight in the eyes. "For the first time, I was not gossiping. She's teaching me how to do business." Chidi's jaw tightened. "Business? You don't need business. Stay at home and mind the house." But 2 weeks later, he found her again, sitting with Mama Titi, listening intently about how to order wrappers from Aba. When he confronted her, she only said, "I want to help. Things are expensive." That night, when he barked at her not to disobey him again, she didn't kneel to beg. She just turned her back and slept, leaving him staring at the ceiling furious. Next came the lipstick. Chidi returned early from work one evening and found Ngozi at the mirror, lips painted in bright red. It shocked him so much he nearly dropped his briefcase. "Ngozi, what is this rubbish? Who bought you lipstick?" Ngozi turned slowly, unfazed. "I did, with my own money." "Your own money? Where did you get money from?" "I've been saving small from the housekeeping, and Mama Titi gave me a loan." Chidi exploded. "So you now paint your mouth like Lagos girls. Tomorrow you will be painting your eyes too." Ngozi calmly wiped the lipstick with the back of her hand, smearing it across her cheek like war paint. What is respect if you want to stay small forever? That night, Chidi punched the wall instead of her. He realized Ngozi wasn't afraid of him. One Saturday morning, Chidi ordered Ngozi to stay at home and cook for his friends who were visiting to drink beer and gossip about women. Ngozi nodded, but by the time they arrived, the pot was empty, and so was the house. She had left a note. "I have gone to Mama Titi's shop. If you are hungry, cook." Chidi's friends laughed behind their hands. "Odogu, so your village wife don't turn city babe?" Chidi wanted to row, but the shame shook him. When Ngozi returned at dusk with a new bag of wrappers to sell, he called her all the foul names he knew. But Ngozi only stood at the door, calm as ever. "Chidi, I am your wife, not your slave. If you want to eat, the kitchen is there." Chidi realized he didn't marry a lamb. He married a woman who had simply waited for her wings to grow. They lived like that, under one roof, yet miles apart. Neighbors whispered that Chidi's perfect village wife was now walking to the market alone, speaking freely, laughing loudly. She no longer knelt to serve him water. She no longer begged him when he backed others. And Chidi, once so sure he could shape her into obedience, found himself caged by the freedom he had dragged her into. His illusion crumbled quietly every day. He would sit on the sofa staring at old wedding pictures and wondering how he got it so wrong. At night, Ngozi slept deeply beside him, dreaming not of streams and fetching water, but of shops, money, and freedom. Her rebellion was not noise, it was her silent power. And in that silence, she taught him the bitter truth he never wanted to learn. A woman's place is not where you put her, it is where she decides to stand. When people ask Chidi now about his marriage, he only shrugs, staring into space as if listening to ghosts. The city didn't spoil his wife. The village didn't save it. What ruined him was simple. You cannot marry a mind you do not respect. You cannot control a spirit you fear. In the end, it wasn't the city girls or the village girls that failed him. It was Chidi who wanted obedience, not partnership, and he got neither.